question about having gone on to Marketing File and purchased a database, and
yes,
going through using constant.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Particularly on the legal side of when you've purchased that list,
yeah,
does that automatically give you implied consent by purchasing it?
In the slightly difficult thing there, in that Constant Contact is a US property,
yeah,
whereas Marketing File is a UK property. So in the UK it does. So, or in Europe it does, within the privacy and electronic communications, you do have technically consent. But of course with Constant Contact, again, this is one of the email marketing tools, it's a very well known one, it's quite a powerful tool, it's US based and they have to comply with the CAN-SPAM law. So they're very nervous. If anybody's uploading a list of contacts into their system for use, they want to know, where did you get that list from? Is it permission based? And they're very specific, aren't they?
Automatically strip out info out and sales out.
Right.
A few companies that's actually their main bit.
Right.
So from the point of view of a UK bought database going through,
yeah,
of these platforms,
yes,
which one would you think would be the most compatible?
It's about trust, isn't it? Really, I suppose. Are they prepared to trust in your relationship? And if you say to them, "Look, these are bona fide,"
it's more trust. It's actually being able to jump through the hoops with that email marketing service provider, which allows you to distribute that.
That's a fair comment.
I've reached a point where, with one of the mail techniques, she said, "Well, until you can sign and fill in the form which says what is your relationship with that database,
we don't want to know.
We won't issue it out."
Right.
So
fair comment. Yeah. Fair comment.
Problems on.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of money on one database.
Right.
With a lot of info in sales I couldn't send out.
Right.
And then the other side of it, actually getting on there and feeling, am I breaking the law?
Right. Yeah. Well, again, because it's a US property, it's US law. But I mean, if you look at things like Campaign Monitor, for example, or .mailer is a UK-based one that are very much tuned into the UK laws. The US ones I talk about are quite useful because often they're quite low cost, because there are quite a few of them around, but also because they have this very rigid structure over there, this CAN-SPAM thing, they have established this whitelisted sending reputation, if you like, so that's quite useful. But there are UK ones as well, and so it's an absolutely fair point.
I'm not technically breaking the law doing that.
Oh no, not at all.
An interesting thing that came from one of the consultant groups I sort of do on LinkedIn was, if somebody gives you a business card,
right,
and you actually build your database up with that, is that express permission? It's
certainly not express permission unless the person whose business card it is gives it to you and says, yes, I really would like to receive your communications. If it's anything other than that...
If they just exchanged emails, it becomes implied.
At best.
At
best, yeah.
So you can still do that as long as you're giving them the opt-out.
Yes, if it's a business and it's a business email address, you could probably do it anyway. And the Information Commissioner, it's easy for me to say, is more concerned about individuals' personal information, consumer-oriented data. So you're not likely to fall foul. So that's certainly of the UK or European law. That's right, yes, absolutely. But I think in that circumstance, I'd be more thinking about, I'd satisfy myself that legally there's not an issue, but again, how are they likely to respond? So, like you say, again, it's about relevance, isn't it? Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, sir?
We use Constant Contact
for
our newsletter and e-flyers, and I really don't get along with it that well.
Okay.
Because, when I write something and save it, it seems to change the formatting somewhere else in the newsletter.
Right.
So I'm not sure if there's any other...
Well, can I ask, do you use their online templates?
I don't know, because I've only just joined my role.
Right.
Somebody else, and,
yeah.
I'm not sure how their template, how the template we have.
That's fine. Well, one of the benefits of Constant Contact is that they have lots and lots of templates. They have literally hundreds of templates built into the system. So I've talked about HTML templates, and some people are, oh, HTML's a bit scary. So what you can do with Constant Contact is you can use their templates that they've already pre-formatted, and quite easily you can drop in bits of content of your own, so text and images. So if you're doing that with one of their templates and doing stuff that's really, really rather simple, then generally it's okay. But if you start to do anything other than that, if you can start to get quite creative, if you like, sometimes you stretch the bounds of their template. So it could be that. If that's your issue, what I'd recommend is taking it in-house and actually creating your own HTML templates. It's not that difficult to do. All you need is an HTML editor, something like Dreamweaver, quite expensive. Microsoft Expressions Web is the MS one. Pick up an old copy of Microsoft Front Page, or there are free ones you can download off the internet. And actually you can design it on your own desktop, if you like, and it's not difficult to use these tools as well. It might be not much more complicated in many ways than using Microsoft Word, for example. And then you've got free range to create in whatever way you like, and then upload your template into Constant Contact, which you can do. Rather than start from a blank sheet of paper, if you like, in your HTML editor, there are lots of free templates as well you can download that give you a structure, an outline to work within that can look nice and quite professional. And I mentioned campaignmonitor.com, and they have about 30 or 40 templates on their website that you can download and customize yourself. So they give you just a simple basic framework, but often including just little things that there might be subtle nuances that look quite nice and professional, like a frame that you can build in with a shadow behind it perhaps, or something of that nature, and then you can just build your content in there. So I'd kind of probably look at that, doing it yourself in your own editor. Any other questions at all? Yes. Yes.
In a business-to-business context, who have you found to be reliable data suppliers?
Well, it's a good point. We mentioned campaign marketing file, I think you did, and that's one that I've used before, and I often talk about. Now, marketingfile.com is one of a great many online list brokers, so I wouldn't particularly advocate them, but I'll tell you why we've used them ourselves, is because they broker data that's owned by very credible list providers. So for them, it's people like Dun & Bradstreet or Experian or the AA or what have you. Why is that important? Well, again, because there's lots and lots of really poor quality data out there, I'm afraid. When I buy data and somebody says this has been quality checked within the last 6 months, you know, we talked about churn, it has been quality checked and these people have provided their permission. If it's Dun & Bradstreet saying that or Experian, I kind of think it's more likely to be true than if I buy it from, well, not a man in the pub, but, you know, a less reputable source. So I think they're a good place to start for that. And the other thing I like about theirs and sites like theirs is that you can filter the data. So if you've identified the profile of your target client, be it a consumer or a business, you can say, well, I'm selling jewellery to people in their 20s and 30s, you know, that would appeal to that sector of the community. You can filter by gender, by disposable income, by whether they have pets, are they homeowners, all that sort of thing. Whereas if it's a business-to-business communication, you can filter by market sector, by job title, by turnover, number of employees, how many offices do they have, how many company cars, how many PCs, all manner of things. So actually when you buy very specific data. So I think for me, it's a broker, as a generalisation, it's a broker that represents credible names that you've heard of as the list owners. I don't know if that helps at all. The other thing that's worth mentioning is that if you go to these sites, you'll find prices published that are quite high. So I'd never, if you go into Marketing File, for example, you probably find they're trying to sell you data at 20p an email address, which is ridiculous. I'd never pay 20p for an email address. But once they've got the data, they can mess around with the pricing structure whenever they like. And in fact, I received an email from them today.
Pretty much every month.
Yeah, frequent, absolutely. So I received an email from them today. If you buy from them today or tomorrow, they'll give you 60% off. So if you would buy list data, this is what I'd do. I'd search around for brokers like that and just sign up to their newsletters and just wait for the offers to come through. And sometimes it'll be more, won't it? 80% and even more. So I don't mind paying 2 or 3 or 4p, but there's no way I'd pay 20p.
Is it another one that we talked about Marketing Files? Another one that
I can't submit. None of the. I can't think of any names. Corp Data. Corp Data is quite well known. Yeah.
The only example we looked at that, they've got a nice little loss leader where you've got a £25 admin fee to get 200 free.
Oh right, okay.
But after that, their minimum orders are £200.
Right, okay.
It does tend to be more focused on.
Yeah. IPT is another one. What I would say is all these things allow you to buy a small sample data. So if I was going to buy 10,000 email addresses, I'd go and buy 200 first. And that's a great thing about buying this. You can turn the tap on, turn the tap off. If the 200 work for me and I get a good response, then I'll go and buy the other 9,000. I'd always be wary about a list broker that wasn't prepared to sell me a small representative sample up front.